I thought leaving my husband, Dorian Pike, would finally give me peace. Instead, it destroyed everything. I signed the divorce papers with shaking hands, convinced he didn't love me anymore. But the night I walked out, I saw something that shattered my heart. Dorian sitting alone in the dark, holding our wedding photo. Whispering, "I tried. I just wanted you to stay." That's when I realized. I wasn't escaping a loveless marriage. I was walking away from the only man who ever fought for me. I still remember the day the sky over our home felt too quiet, like something terrible was hiding behind the silence. My name is Elowen, and if someone had told me that one small lie whispered by someone I trusted would destroy my marriage, I would have laughed then. But betrayal always starts with a person you never expect. Dorian came home late that night, smelling faintly of hospital disinfectant, the kind that always clung to him after a long shift. He was a trauma nurse, always running, always helping, always putting other people before himself. I used to love that about him. That night, though, I didn't say a word. I sat on the living room sofa with the lamp turned low, twisting the corner of my sweater between my fingers. "You're awake?" he asked, surprised, setting down his bag. "Elle, you okay?" I opened my mouth, but the words burned instead of forming. Because earlier that evening, Maren, my best friend of 12 years, sat across from me at our kitchen table, her fingers wrapped around a mug she never sipped from. "Elowen," she whispered, looking right into me, "I think you deserve to know. Dorian isn't being faithful." My heart had stopped. I remember the way my breath sounded too loud in that tiny kitchen, how the refrigerator hum suddenly felt like a scream. "What did you say?" I managed. Maren reached across the table and squeezed my hand like she was comforting me. I didn't know yet that it was the grip of someone pushing me toward pain. "I've seen him with a woman at the hospital. They were close. Too close. I didn't want to tell you, but you're my best friend. You deserve the truth." She said it softly, like she was doing me a favor. But the worst part was, a small part of me believed her. Dorian had been exhausted lately, distant, coming home late. He barely talked about work anymore, and when I asked questions, he would brush them off with "rough shift, Elle. I'll tell you tomorrow." But tomorrow never came. Now, looking at him standing in front of me, rubbing the back of his neck the way he always did when he was tired, I felt something twist painfully inside me. "Where were you?" I asked quietly. He blinked, confused. "I told you I had double shifts this week. They're understaffed." "You're always understaffed," I said, my voice tighter than I meant. He frowned, stepping closer. "Elowen, what's going on?" I wanted to scream, "Are you cheating on me?" but the question lodged itself in my throat like thorns. Instead, I just stood up and walked past him. For the next week, nothing felt normal. His phone buzzed once in the middle of dinner and my heart slammed into my ribs like a panicked thing. When he left the room to take the call, I stared at his untouched food and felt my stomach sink. When he came back, I forced a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Maren's words started rooting themselves like weeds inside my chest. She watered them with hints, with little sighs, with observations that all pointed toward distrust. "Elle," she said one afternoon as she folded laundry with me, "have you noticed he smells like perfume sometimes?" I hadn't. But the moment she said it, I started imagining it. "Elle, he's barely spending time with you. Elle, if he was really committed, he'd make time. Elle," I didn't want to say anything, but the woman he was with? She's beautiful. Younger. Every lie was wrapped in concern, and every concern felt like truth because it came from the person who knew me better than anyone. I became quiet at home. Dorian noticed. "Elle, talk to me," he begged one night as he stood in the doorway of our bedroom. "What's wrong?" "Nothing," I said as I pulled the blanket to my chin. He sat on the edge of the bed, sighing deeply. "I can't fix what you won't tell me." My eyes burned, but I didn't turn to him. Because I told myself I already knew. He didn't love me anymore. Someone else had taken the place I fought so hard to keep. But the truth? The truth was that I didn't even ask him. Not once. I let a lie feel like evidence. I let doubt eat our marriage. 2 months later, the silence between us was bigger than the home we lived in. He stopped trying to ask what was wrong, and I stopped waiting for him to confess something he never did. The night I told him I wanted a divorce, he didn't even raise his voice. He just looked at me like I had broken something sacred between us. "Why?" he whispered, his voice breaking in a way I had never heard before. I stared at the floor and said the coldest words I think I've ever spoken. "We're not working anymore." He leaned against the wall for support, pressing his palm to his forehead. I love you. I will do anything. We can go to therapy, take time off, figure it out. Please. Don't do this. Please. His voice cracked on the last plea, and something inside me cracked with it. But the lie inside my mind was louder than his truth. "I've made my decision," I said. The next morning, he packed quietly. Every object he touched seemed to break him a little more. When he zipped his last bag, he came to me, eyes wet, voice shaking. "If you ever change your mind, even years from now, I swear I will still love you." I swallowed hard, not believing him, because Maren's voice drowned everything. "Someone else," she had said. "He's with someone else." So I let him walk out. I watched the man who once held me like air was secondary leave with tears streaming down his face. And I thought I did the right thing. But days after he left, something happened, something that would unravel everything and destroy the only friendship I still had. Maren made a mistake. One message. One slip. One truth she never meant for me to see. And when I discovered that the entire divorce, the entire destruction of my marriage, was built on a lie she planted, I realized I had thrown away the one person who never betrayed me. Dorian. I didn't sleep for 3 nights. Not because of the divorce papers sitting in my drawer, not because of the echo of Dorian's footsteps leaving our home, but because of Maren. Her face, her voice, the way she smiled like she had done me a favor, it haunted me. I kept replaying every conversation, every piece of advice she had ever given, every concern she had whispered in my ear. And then it hit me, a text notification I hadn't noticed before, buried in my phone. One that had come while I was still hurting, still raw from Dorian's absence. "You'll never know the truth, keep him away, he's mine now." I dropped the phone. My chest went cold. Every concern, every tip, every careful observation she had offered me, was manipulation. All of it. She hadn't been protecting me. She had been waiting. Waiting for me to make the first mistake. Waiting for me to destroy the one thing I loved most. I thought of Dorian, all the nights he had stayed up working double shifts, the times he'd come home exhausted and fallen asleep without complaint. I thought of how he had never once lied to me. How he had always carried his burdens quietly, without ever letting me know. And I had punished him with silence, suspicion, and then divorce. My hands trembled as I stared at the message again. How could I have been so blind? How could I have trusted her over him? The next morning, I drove to his apartment. My heart felt like it was made of lead, dragging me forward. Every step toward his door was a reminder of the months lost, the moments stolen from both of us, the love I had thrown away. I rang the bell. Nothing. Again. Finally, a soft click, and there he was. Dorian, standing in the doorway, tired eyes, unshaven face, but still the same man I had loved. Elowen, his voice was low, wary. "I wasn't expecting you." I choked on the words before they came out. I know," I said. "I know everything. About Maren." He frowned, confusion knitting his brow. "What do you mean?" "I mean, she lied," I said, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. "She told me, she said you were with someone else. She manipulated me, and I let it happen. I believed her. And I filed for divorce." His face fell. The hurt in his eyes matched my own. "Elle, you don't understand." "I understand enough," I said, my voice shaking. "I understand that I almost destroyed the best thing I've ever had because I listened to the wrong person. I understand that you never betrayed me. That she was the villain all along." Dorian's lips trembled. He took a step closer. "I stayed away because I wanted to give you space. I didn't want to force you back into a marriage that you thought was broken. I never stopped loving you, Elowen. Not for a second." I couldn't speak. I wanted to scream. I wanted to fall into his arms and never let go. But the reality of the past months weighed heavy. The divorce papers still sat in my drawer. The trust one had broken, even I wasn't sure it could be repaired. "Please," he whispered, voice thick with emotion. "Let me prove it. Let me show you. I'll do whatever it takes." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to, with every fiber of my being. But part of me still ached with the wounds that Maren had inflicted, the months of doubt and loneliness, the silent nights where I had blamed him for things he never did. "I need time," I said finally, tears running down my cheeks. "Time to undo what I did to us. Time to remember who we were." He nodded, taking my hand gently. "Time is fine. I'll wait. As long as it takes." And in that moment, standing there with his hand in mine, I realized just how close I had come to losing everything. But the danger wasn't over. Because Maren would never let go. And now, she would know that her plan had failed, that the one person she wanted to destroy was slipping back into his rightful place. I could feel the storm coming. But for the first time in months, I felt the smallest flicker of hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, we could rebuild what she had tried so carefully to ruin. The following days were a blur. I spent hours replaying every conversation, every laugh, every sigh that Maren had shared with me. The betrayal felt like a weight pressing into my chest, a shadow I couldn't shake. I knew I had to face her, had to confront the person who had tried to destroy my marriage. I found Maren at our favorite cafe, the place where we had shared secrets, dreams, and endless cups of coffee. She looked the same, bright smile, hair perfect, as if nothing had happened. But I saw through the mask. I had to. "Elowen," she began, feigning surprise. "What's wrong? You look upset." "Cut the act," I said, my voice low but steady. "I know everything, Maren. All of it. The lies. The manipulation. The texts." Her smile faltered for the first time. I don't know what you're talking about." "You lied to me about Dorian," I said, fury rising. "You told me he was with someone else. You planted doubts. You watched me destroy my marriage while pretending to be my friend. How could you do this?" Her eyes narrowed. I only wanted to help. I saw him getting distant. I thought." "You thought?" I cut her off. "You thought it would be easier to ruin my life than to trust me to handle the truth?" My hands shook with the weight of months of pain. "You've taken everything from me, Maren. My trust. My happiness. My husband. And for what? Your own selfish desire." She looked away, silent. I could see the guilt flickering in her eyes, but it wasn't enough. Not yet. I left the cafe, my heart pounding, knowing that talking wouldn't undo months of deception. I had to focus on Dorian. I had to show him that I wasn't letting her win, that we could survive this. When I returned to our home, he was there. Sitting on the sofa, hands folded, watching me carefully. "Elowen?" he asked. I confronted her, I said, sitting beside him. "She lied. She manipulated me. She wanted to ruin us." Dorian's eyes softened, and he reached for my hand. "You're here now. That's what matters." I leaned into him, letting the tears come. "I almost lost everything, Dorian. I almost lost you. You didn't lose me, he said firmly. You just let a lie take control for a while. But I'm here. We're here. And we'll fix it together. For the first time in months, I believed him. The fear, the pain, the anger, they were still there, but they were shared now. And that made them lighter. Over the next few weeks, we rebuilt our trust slowly. Every conversation was honest, every gesture intentional. We laughed again. We argued, yes, but it was real, and it was ours. And I realized that love isn't about perfection. It's about surviving the storms together. Then came the final confrontation. Maren tried to apologize, her voice trembling. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I was jealous, and I made mistakes. Dorian and I looked at each other, and I spoke first. You betrayed me, Maren. You betrayed our marriage, and you betrayed our friendship. There's no excuse for that. You wanted to break us. But we're not broken. You see that? Maren nodded silently, the weight of her actions finally settling on her. And as for us, Dorian said, squeezing my hand, we're stronger than ever. Not because we didn't face betrayal, but because we chose each other despite it. I realized then that the love we had almost lost was now unshakable. Pain had come between us, yes, but it had also shown us how deep our commitment truly was. That night, as I lay in bed with Dorian, I whispered, I'm sorry for doubting you. For letting her lies make me blind. He kissed my forehead gently. You don't have to apologize. We've survived her storm. And now, Elowen, we're ready for everything else life throws at us. Together. I closed my eyes, feeling the warmth of his presence, the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. The betrayal, the fear, the tears, they were behind us now. And for the first time in a long time, I felt whole. Love, I realized, isn't about never facing lies or heartbreak. It's about finding the person who will fight through it with you, and choosing them every single day. And I chose Dorian, again, and again, for the rest of our lives.